Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing a current affair topic presented to you by your faculty Sushma KP. So what is the topic that we will be looking into today? From winding down to 48-hour ultimatum, your Trump's Iran war is not seeming to have an exit but only an escalation. What exactly is happening right now? First and foremost, your USA and its ally, Israel, both jointly attacked Iran. Now, in this, your Iran is retaliating. Initially, what Trump thought was this would be a very short victory, which means short victory in the sense the victory will be achieved in a very short period of time. But as and when the time keeps progressing, the war has finished 22-day streak and now entered the 23rd day. Now, as we are seeing the 23rd day, it doesn't seem like the war is ending or exiting any time yet, but rather it is seeing fresh new escalations. Why? What is happening? First and foremost, there is differences in the alliance itself. What alliance? Your USA wants to wind down that war very soon, whereas your Israel is in no intention of ending the war. So much so that your Israel has even hinted at trying to attack Iran on all fronts, which means they are telling on air we are doing so much as we can. But we have to get the operation started on foot. So your Israel is thinking of opening up of new ways of fighting, where its ally USA is trying to wind down that war one day, and another day it is new stories. What is this news stories? See what happened a day earlier, 24 hours earlier, the US President Donald Trump had posted in social media stating that now they are going towards de-escalation because they're obliterating the enemy. In this case, he is telling Iran. And he has also pointed out that Iran has no navy, Iran has no air force, it has no operations, it has no, let's say, ammunition, everything we have obliterated. In this case, we will be winding down, is what your Donald Trump, US President, told. Just within 24 hours, he changed his stance, telling that when reporters asked, he says he has no intention of going for a ceasefire. He also further went on to claim that in many news media journals, why would you go for a ceasefire deal when you're obliterating the enemy? Now, he gave out a statement stating that it was almost like he was going to wind down the war. After that, he posted, after this 24 hours, he posted one more social media post. What is that? If Iran doesn't fully, without a threat, open Strait of Hormuz, okay, within 48 hours, then it would be further more escalations. Okay. Now, when your US president just 24 hours back he claimed that he will be de-escalating, he will be winding down, he then went ahead and posted this about your Strait of Hormuz that Iran has to open without any conditions and without any threats. If not, he will target power plants starting with the biggest one. Now, for this, within hours, Iran responded stating that if USA touches Iran's power plants, then every single US energy security in this region will be a target of attack by Iran. So, does this seem like the war is coming to an end, or is it looking like it is going to further escalate? What is all this about? It is about this narrow strip. Do you see this place? This is your Strait of Hormuz, which is controlled on the north towards by your Iran. This Strait of Hormuz is extremely important for your global crude oil shipping because 20% of crude oil passes through this. Now, many analysts have even predicted that even if Trump wants now, he can't walk away because he can't claim victory without having the precondition to have one. Meaning, as long as Strait of Hormuz is still under the control of your Iran and it is not opened, you can't call this a victory. Many times in many news outlets, US President Donald Trump himself has claimed that if we want, we can walk away from the war right now. If we walk away from the war right now, it will take them 10 years to rebuild its nuclear program. But we are not going to walk away because the longer we are going to stay, it will become impossible for them to rebuild. With US President Donald Trump, one thing that you are seeing is each day there is a different objective of what he wants out of this war. One day it's nuclear disarmament, one day it is regime change, one day it is your US Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro style. So each day the objectives are changing. If you see the US scenario, the Congress itself is commenting as to what is the objective of this war, what is this war going to do for us. Okay, so there is huge amount of, let's say, the people, the common people are starting to get their domestic bills and budgets affected by this war. Alongside this, one important aspect is your US has a provision where US president can conduct military strikes up to 60 days. Okay, which means February 28th this war was started, that 60 days timeline will end by April. Now already we have entered 23-day streak. The US President Donald Trump was of the assumption that this war will end by end of March. But as we are ending the end of March, what seems visible is it does not seem like the war is on an ending streak but rather on new fronts of escalation. And especially if they do put boots on the ground, it's going to be a full-fledged regional war. If all this is going on one side, your USA executives are asking the congressional committees to pass up $200 billion to finance this war. Because after 60 days, they need congressional support. Up until 60 days, they don't need one. Now, the Hormuz trap. First and foremost, why is US President wanting the Strait of Hormuz to be opened? Right now, Strait of Hormuz is opened in a conditional manner, meaning Chinese ships are allowed to pass. Okay, they allowed India's. Now Japan is negotiating with your Iran in order to allow their ships to pass. What Iran is claiming is it will allow the ships to pass as long as those are not enemy ships. Understanding? And furthermore, they have also decided that they should start paying, the ships should start paying tolls and taxes for movement across your Strait of Hormuz, which means it is no longer a global choke point, but they are trying to turn it into a economic aspect. Understanding? Now, if you see, because of this war, the world has entered into a global oil shock. According to Brent crude oil, before war, a barrel of crude oil was $70. Now it is inching up to 119 dollars per barrel. Now, if this keeps on going, it will reach $175. That would mean a global recession risk. Because of this, petrol prices are increasing, inflation is spiking, your jet fuels have doubled in prices. Yes, and the global economy, if it reaches $175 per barrel, is at a huge recession risk. Now, even if US wants, why can't it exit the war? First thing is, as long as Iran has the leverage on your Strait of Hormuz and as long as it is closed, there is no point of calling anything a victory. Second is, Israel is pushing for escalation. They want new avenues of your war, that is on the ground also, new fronts to be started. One more side is your US is stuck between, let's say if this is US, one side is Israel, one side is NATO. Both are pushing in opposite directions. NATO is not agreeing. Your US president asked NATO members for a naval coalition against the Strait of Hormuz, but the NATO members are not agreeing. Germany has come out and stated that what has this got to do with NATO members? So, US president has criticized them as paper tigers. On the other side is your Israel who wants to full-fledgedly carry out the war. The oil prices are rising and US credibility depends as a hegemon on what will be the outcome of this war. What is US and Israel? See, both are allies. Both are fighting the same war, but with different objectives. What is the goal of USA? Open Strait of Hormuz. What is the goal of Israel? Weaken Iran. What is the type of war that your US wants? Limited war. It even wants de-escalation. Your Israel open a full-fledged war. What is the ground of war? Now here they have not told that no, we should put boots on ground, but Israel is very much prompting towards putting boots on ground. The priority for USA here is oil and economy, whereas for your Israel is security and survival. So here Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump are fighting the same war but with different objectives, which makes the entire war front very different. So, how is Iran trying to navigate this? Iran has not fully closed Strait of Hormuz, it is only selectively letting the ships pass through, wherein it is allowing friendly nations to pass and blocking enemies. And also, it is trying to use Hormuz as not just a weapon but turn it into a economic leverage also. Alongside this, they are considering levying fees on your passing vessels. This is what they are having the trump card, understanding. And if you see with respect to the lot of aspects involved here, they are telling they are ready to work with your international maritime law also, but complete cessation of aggression has to happen. And they have held with regarding to attacking power plants, again in your Geneva Convention all, you have to not attack each other's power plants. Your Iran has strictly claimed that if US targets its power plants, its facilities, then it will target the energy, okay, of USA energy plants. And alongside this, they are trying to come up with new ways, that is, there's not a new concept, but they are trying to involve your cluster bombs. Retaliation is at the peak here, understanding. So your US also, especially under your War Powers Act of USA, has limited period of time that it can continue. 60 days it can conduct a military strike, the president of USA, without congressional support. But after that it needs your congressional support, and they're asking for around $200 billion. How would it impact India? See, first and foremost, the Strait of Hormuz is a very important choke point because, again, as usual, like for the world, but for India, it is a huge importer of crude oil and also from your Gulf countries. So, with the imports getting affected, rising oil prices, inflation is becoming higher, Indian diaspora is at risk in that particular countries in the Gulf. Trade routes are disrupted, and also our infrastructure projects such as your Chabahar, your international north-south transport corridor, all of this is not able to realize its full potential. Understanding? So how is India trying to maintain? It is trying to maintain a neutral diplomacy, diversify its energy sources, and at the same point of time, it is trying to do the balancing act between your Iran, Israel, and USA. So, what can happen in the future? What action will prompt to what? If Iran opens Strait of Hormuz, then the war can de-escalate. If US strikes Iran's power plants like it has told, that 48-hour window will end by Monday evening on US time. So if it strikes power plants, the war will escalate very sharply. If Israel does ground invasion, this will open into a full-fledged regional war. If oil crosses $150 per barrel and it touches 175, then the global recession is bound to happen. If Iran taxes ships, then this will lead to a new economic war. Okay, so there are various aspects and what that could lead. With this, we come to the end of the content. If you like our content, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, share it along with friends. Thank you.